Hey, what is going on, everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario, and you know what? If I can have a good excuse to not only play and mod, but also showcase something really cool with Grand Theft Auto 3, I'm going to take the opportunity to do so. And this is in the form of the Upstate Liberty mod, which I will say is one of the coolest and one of the most ambitious map mods I've ever seen for Grand Theft Auto 3. If you've never heard of this before, Upstate Liberty is a mod that was released recently by developer Addy23041999, as well as with contributions from Silent, who we have a lot to thank for in terms of some really awesome quality of life mods for this game. This allows you to take the previously unavailable and non-fleshed out Upstate and, well, completely fleshes it out to the point where you could see we're going from this to this. And when you start exploring and messing around and really just see the gravity of it all, this thing could be just as big, if not bigger, than the 3 accessible islands in the entire stock game itself. It's been really awesome to explore. Now, this video in particular is going to show you how to set up the mod, how to install it, and how to have fun with it. However, if you're wanting to see a little bit about the mod itself and really the aesthetics and things that they've changed, added, and all that here, friend of the channel here and pretty awesome YouTuber Badger Goodger made a really great video covering this. I will have that linked down below in the description if you want to see about the mod itself, and then if you want to see how to actually install it, well, you're in the right place. Now, if you've learned enough about this mod that you're really interested in installing it, or the footage here has piqued your interest, don't worry, we are going to get to that. But there's going to be a few prerequisites we have to cover, which, oh yeah, by the way, this whole flying car thing, I'll show you how to do that too. That's actually been a really fun way of getting around the map. The first thing you're going to need is a copy of Grand Theft Auto 3. I have to be very clear, you need the original PC version of Grand Theft Auto 3, not the definitive edition, nothing on a console. This is not for Xbox, Xbox One, Xbox Series, PS3, 4, 5, none of that. You will need the original version of Grand Theft Auto 3 in order to install this mod. You should also make sure that this is the Windows version, not the Mac version. So that means you will need a computer to play this game, let alone play the mod. But on top of that, you aren't just limited to Windows. I'm actually going to be showing this in both Windows and Linux, although with Linux, I'm specifically going to be on the Steam Deck. I have a feeling many people who are going to want to play this will probably be on Steam Deck. If you have another variant or another setup of Linux, you can kind of adapt the instructions here. It's really about the same when it comes to copying files. It's just some things are in different places, and there's a little bit more setup you have to do with Proton. But outside of that, you should be able to get it working with minimal to no issues. And if you've got your computer and Grand Theft Auto 3 sorted out, you should be in a good spot. I'm personally going to be using the Steam version, but I am going to mention as well too here, if you have a modded version of Grand Theft Auto 3, like you have existing mods in there, your mileage may vary on this here. Not only I don't personally know what you have installed, but I'm going to tailor this video for a vanilla installation. So if you just installed Grand Theft Auto 3 and you haven't put any mods, you haven't changed anything on there, this is going to be for you. If you have a modded up version of Grand Theft Auto 3, you might want to back up your directory and just do a clean installation of it. Now, with all of that out of the way, the first thing you need to know here is that saves are not compatible. It does note that here in all caps with multiple exclamation points and in bold. Saves are not going to be compatible. So if you have a save that you care about here, I'm going to show you how to back it up. If you're on Windows, it's pretty simple. Go to your Documents folder, and there's going to be a folder here called GTA 3 User Files. GTA3.set is going to be your settings file, and then any of the other files that have a .b extension are your actual save files. These ones here, like I said, are not compatible on the mod, so what you're going to need to do is any saves that you might care about, just go ahead, copy them out, and paste them somewhere safe. Once they've been backed up, it's up to you if you want to delete them. Once you have this mod installed, they are going to show up as corrupted, but since I have this one backed up, I'm going to go ahead and delete it. Now, if you're using something such as the Steam Deck like I'm doing here, or if you're using just Steam Big Picture mode, you're going to want to exit out to your desktop since we're going to be going through the file system. Be warned, it's going to be a little bit of a long path to get to your saves. Within your file explorer such as Dolphin, you're going to want to go home, and from here, you're going to go to the .local directory. We're going to look for share. From here, we're going to look for Steam. Enter the Steam directory. We need to look for Steam apps. There we go. Compat data. And then from this, we need to look for one of these folders. And Grand Theft Auto 3, at least from my tests here, has been the 12100 folder. From here, go into PFX, Drive C, Users. Look for your user. I know mine is Steam User. Now go into Documents, and GTA 3 user files. And right here, this is going to be your settings file, and these are going to be your saves. So go ahead and back up any saves that you might care about. Now for our actual downloads, there's going to be several downloads you'll need to get here. So go ahead and just follow along and you should be able to get this sorted. The first thing we're going to need here is of course Upstate Liberty. What you can do is check out the GitHub repository, check out the notes here if you wish to, and of course the authors on here, as well as the many contributors, special thanks, and supporters here as well. But in order to download the latest build of this here, you can come over here, go over to the releases section, and once this loads in, you're going to want to download the latest build available. It's going to be a ul.7z file. Just download that and save it somewhere you can easily find it. The next thing you're going to need here is the Ultimate ASI loader. You can find more information about this, of course, on the GitHub repository, but just like before, scroll over to the releases section and find the latest build of the Ultimate ASI loader. Now there's going to be 2 downloads and you only need one of them. This one, which is x64, is going to be for 64-bit or x64 operating systems. Or if you know you have an x86 or a 32-bit operating system installed, you're going to use this standard one right here. Now if you're confused on which one to use here, I'll say this: at least SteamOS on the Steam Deck, I was able to use the x64 one just fine, and if you're using Windows 11, it's going to be 64-bit. On older versions of Windows, if you're unsure, you could typically go to your C drive, and if you see a program files and a program files x86, that typically means you have a 64-bit operating system installed. If you don't have this x86 folder, you're going to have a 32-bit version. Next up, we're going to need the legendary silent patch right here, and if you have played the original versions, you're probably more than familiar with this here. There's a ton of information that you can find in terms of the fixes and such available, but what you'll need to do is, if you just want to download it, same thing as usual, go to the releases section, and there's 2 downloads we're going to need. The first thing we're going to need is ddraw, and then we're going to need the silent patch 3. These next 2 or 3 are going to be optional, but I will say that they will really help you out, so it would be recommended to install them. One of them is going to be the widescreen fix, which is pretty self-explanatory here. What you can do is go to the link that I have in the description, and there's going to be 2 downloads, the widescreen fix and the widescreen frontend. Go ahead and download both of them. Even though this one is optional, I yet again highly recommend it here, especially if you're going to be playing on a Steam Deck. This here is G Input, which is designed by Silent here to make it much better to use a controller on Grand Theft Auto 3. In order to download this, just go ahead, scroll down to the bottom of this first post and click on download for GTA 3. Next up is going to be Z-Menu 3 from developer Zolaika1351. Now this here is a trainer, and while as it might not seem like it's required here, it's going to make it much easier from the beginning of the game to get over to where we need to go and jump around, especially since we're not going to have a save to work with. So trust me, this will make your life a lot easier, and this here is the one that ended up working for me. In order to download this here, just scroll down to the bottom, click on download. It will take you to a Mega download, and you can just download it like any other file from Mega. Now the last download for the game itself here is going to be the Grand Theft Auto 3 original 1.0 executable. We are going to have to downgrade our executable, and that is required to get this to work here. In order to download this, well, you can just click on download now and go through that process. Lastly, this is more for your computer itself here, because there's going to be a ton of archive files that we need to work with here. If you have any trouble opening up any of them here, I'd recommend downloading and installing 7-zip. It's free, easy enough to use, and that'll get the job done for us. Now with all those downloads completed, I put everything into a Upstate Liberty mod directory just to make it a little bit cleaner and easier to work with. Now we have all these files here, and what we can do first is extract them out. What you want to do is highlight everything, and if you're using 7-zip, you can right click these, go to 7-zip, and you're going to hit extract to, and it's going to be this option with the asterisk and the slash. Go ahead, click that, wait a few seconds, and once that's done, you see that there's going to be a ton of folders right here available, and those are the ones that we can pull all the files we need from. And just to clean this up a little further, I'm actually just going to delete these all right here. And they're in the recycling bin in case I need to access them again. But now we just have the actual extracted mods and their respective folders. The next thing we need is access to our installation. Now I'm going to be using the Steam version of this, but once you have it installed, again, it needs to be a clean installation of it, completely clean. If you're going to be following this from the beginning here, you can right click Grand Theft Auto 3, go over to Manage, and then click on Browse Local Files. So here we go. To the left, you can see I have the stock game installation, and to the right here, I have all the mods. Now, the first thing we need to do here, which is a hard requirement, is we need to downgrade our actual executable. In order to do that here, and by the way, if you're on Windows and you want to show your file name extensions, which I would recommend, you can click over here on the ellipse, you can go over to View, Show, and Enable File Name Extensions. So this executable, what I would recommend doing is we just need to rename it. You can go ahead and rename this, and I'm going to call it .exe.original. Something like that. Go ahead and say yes. Now go into your GTA 3 1.0 executable. We're going to copy this out and paste it into the installation folder. And there we go, our game has successfully been downgraded. Next up, we're going to need the Ultimate ASI Loader. You can exit back out here, go to Ultimate ASI Loader. There's only going to be one file, which is dinput.dll. Go ahead, copy, and paste this into your actual folder. And there we go, it's next to everything else. That's pretty much how a lot of these mods are going to be installed. The next one will be Upstate Liberty, which would be in the UL directory, and it's going to be 4 folders right here because we don't need the README. So go ahead and highlight all of these. We're going to copy them out, go over to Grand Theft Auto 3, and we're going to paste. If there's anything that asks you to overwrite files, you're going to want to say yes, and if there's anything that's asking you to merge directories, you do want to merge your directories. So there we go, that's been installed. Next up will be Silent Patch, and this is going to be in 2 forms. The first one is going to be ddraw, so let's go ahead, go in there. We're going to grab our ddraw.dll, and we're going to paste it along with everything else. Next up, we're going to get Silent Patch 3. There's going to be 2 files here, an ASI file and an INI file. Same thing as before, just copy these 2 out, and we're going to paste them into the game directory. Next up will be Widescreen Fix. Go into the Widescreen Fix folder, grab the scripts folder and the D3D8 DLL. We can go ahead, copy these 2 out, and we're going to paste them into our game. Now we need the widescreen front end. In here, there's going to be models and TXD. Go ahead, copy both these out, and paste them in right here. Yet again, if there's anything asking to merge, you're going to want to merge, and if there's anything asking you to overwrite, you're going to want to overwrite those files. We can exit back out here again, and we're going to now install ginput. Find ginput3, and it's going to be the models folder, the ginput3 ASI, as well as the ginput3 INI. Go ahead, copy all 3 of these out, and we're going to paste them into the game. Now, the very last thing we need to install here is going to be our mod menu. So find zmenu3, open it up. When you open this up, there's going to be a zmenu assets folder, and there's going to be several files right here. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, the one file we don't want to copy over is D3D8. You can actually delete this one right here. We're deleting that one because that's actually an outdated version compared to the one we already have installed. So once D3D8 has been deleted, we can grab everything in zmenu, we're going to copy it out, and we're going to paste it into Grand Theft Auto 3. And if you did that properly, there we go, everything's been installed. So there we go, all of our mods have now been installed. Now we're not done quite yet, now we're only going to be focusing on the Grand Theft Auto 3 directory, and this one is going to be completely optional. And it's really going to depend on what type of controller you have if you're using ginput. What you can do is navigate over to ginput3.ini and open it up. Now, even though something else like Notepad++ might look better for this here, I'm just showing you this for a basic feature because there's one setting you might want to tweak, and it's going to be this one here, PlayStation buttons. Now again, this depends on what type of controller you're using. I'm personally going to be using either the Steam Deck or an Xbox 360 controller, so it seems to work for me. But if you're using something such as a DualShock 3, a DualShock 4, or even a DualSense controller, or just something that uses PlayStation buttons, this might help you out. You're going to want to change this setting here, PlayStation buttons, from 0 to 1, and you can go to File and Save. And that's all you need to do. Now I'm going to revert that change because again, I'm going to be using either Steam Deck or an Xbox controller, but that's in case you want to use a PlayStation controller with PlayStation button prompts. So I'm going to now close out of that. And that's pretty much all we have to do for the mods themselves. Now on Windows, we might be all ready to play, but there's going to be a few more steps you have to do in order to get this working if you're using Linux or specifically a Steam Deck like what I'm doing here. What you'll need to do is of course go into Steam, find your Grand Theft Auto 3, we're going to go over to the gear right here, but really we just need to go over to the properties page. The first thing here is going to be the launch options. You're going to need to come over here, and this is going to be the command. I'll go ahead and zoom in on this here, and if you need to pause, feel free to, but better yet, I'm actually just going to copy and paste my command that I'm using here down below in the description of this video. So that way, if you want to check it out and copy and paste it, it'll make it a little bit easier. This here is going to be required in order to pass through some of those DLLs to actually work so we can run the mods on our game. Once that's all set up here, the next thing we need to do is actually set our Proton version. Go over to compatibility, and from here, this might be subject to change, and things are always going to be changing, mind you. But I will say this, Proton 10.0-4 is the one that I was using for this, and it's been working pretty well. So there will be higher Proton versions in the future, and maybe they'll work better, but at the time of recording this, Proton 10.0-4 is what has worked for me. The last thing we need to do is actually adjust our controller mapping. We can go ahead and exit out of here, and this is especially important if you're on Steam Deck. Go over to your controller settings right here, and we're going to be setting this on the Steam Deck itself. You can change the button layout, and the one that I've used right here, there's several layouts that you can download. You can go over to community layouts, and there's a ton that are available here, but the one that I personally used and would personally recommend has been Mental Elson's Badass GTA 3 controls. This one has worked phenomenally for me. You can go ahead and select your layout, tap the X button to apply it. Now from here, you can do whatever you want to on these back grip buttons, but what I would highly recommend here is to change one of these to the F7 key on the keyboard. That's what's going to allow us to bring up and also turn off our mod menu. So for this here, I personally don't use the back grip buttons really, so I'm going to remove this, remove this, remove this, and the one that I prefer to use is R4. It doesn't matter which one you use here, but it would be recommended for one of these just to easily bind that. Once you make your selection, go to add a command, or you can override one of these. We're going to navigate over to the keyboard, and the command we're going to set is for F7. So there we go. Once that's all dialed in, and once you're in game, all you need to do is press the back grip button of your choice, and you'll be able to bring up the menu. At this point now, you can play, so go ahead, fire up Grand Theft Auto 3. Now, since this will be a net new run of the game, you might want to go over to your options and check out some of the things here. For example, the display setup, you can go ahead and tweak this. I already had my previous settings in there, so that was okay. But in case there's anything you want to adjust, feel free to do that now. Outside that, you can go ahead and go over to Start Game and start a new game. So now that we're at the beginning of the game, what I would recommend doing is completing the first mission right here. So just go ahead, take about 5 minutes to do that. But you can also make sure that your mods are actually working. If you check my UI right here, just like the screen elements and all that, you can see that the widescreen fix is working wonderfully. I'm also able to use G input with no issues since I'm using a 360 controller right here. And also, fun fact, if you pick up a hidden package, there's actually another 100 hidden packages available. Let me actually show you that real quick. Okay, so we can go ahead, check this, and check it out. 1 of 200 this time around instead of 100. So that also shows me that Upstate Liberty is successfully installed and working. I'm not going to bore you all with the details here in my bad driving, so let's just go ahead and fast forward through this first mission. Alright, so with that first mission done here, what I'd recommend doing is immediately saving. We don't have to have a crazy save or anything, but I'd recommend having this first save just so whenever you want to play this again, we don't have to get stuck with that first mission. So go ahead, jump in here, we're going to save, that's okay. And there we go, we can actually have some fun with the mod. Now, in order to actually get to Upstate Liberty, instead of going through all the missions sequentially, what you can do is hit F7 on your keyboard or load up your keyboard bind that you've set up here, and you can see that Zuleika's menu pops up. Now there's a few settings here that we can go ahead and tweak, and just to have a little bit of fun, I'm going to go ahead and go over to Options, Helpful, I'm going to enable God mode yet again, unlimited ammo, sure. I'll go ahead and give myself armor. I'm kind of showing you a little bit of how this all works, and you can go ahead and add in money as well too, so I'll just go ahead, dump that in. Yeah, you get this whole little keyboard setup right there. Add that, and there we go. Oh, I should also change the frame limiter as well, just for the fun of it. Now back at the main menu, I'm also going to go over to weapons, and I'll give myself all weapons. So, yep, I got everything there. We're okay from that front, so we should be good from there. Now at this point, we can actually work on getting our spawns and our teleports. So for this, go up to teleport, and what I personally recommend doing is going to, let's see, collectibles, hidden packages, and you can scroll to the 90s. I'm going to go to Hidden Package 90. And you can see right here, it brings us over to, well, we've collected another hidden package, but it brings us over to Wichita Gardens, which is close to the third and final hideout. Now with that, we can exit out of this, exit out yet again. We can go over to the spawn option here, go over to car spawning, and from here you can choose a car that you want to spawn in. Now I do recommend disabling warp into spawned car because that's made for some funny and frustrating moments, but you can go over to the model list and you can choose any of these vehicles right here to load up and spawn. I'm personally going to go with the really awesome taxi, so there we go. We can exit out of there, exit out of there, and once you're done with the menu, you can press the F7 key yet again to close out of it. Now from here, we just need to get a little bit of driving done, so I need to head over to one of the tunnels, because that's how you enter this. You need to go to Shoreside Vale, and there's 2 tunnels, and you can enter from either one of them. So here we go. If you're familiar with the end game or just really familiar with this game in general, we're going to drive past Catalina's mansion. I'm not even sure if that was hers, to be honest, but we can come up here and check this out. You're going to notice that there's actually cars driving through this tunnel, and this tunnel is open because, like I said, it's one of the 2 tunnels you can access this. So what you can do is start driving through and check out Upstate Liberty. Once you find a direction you want to go, I'm going to go to the right here with Ghostberg. Just keep driving and eventually you'll make it out to your nice new mod that you've installed. And here we go. Here we go. I kind of messed up the landing there initially, but you can see this is quite different than anything else in the game. It looks a little bit like San Andreas, but the cool thing is all the assets and textures, these are all within Grand Theft Auto 3, so you're just seeing something a little bit different and something that, you know, could have realistically been a part of the game as well too. It would have been really cool if there was something like this in the game. But one thing I would recommend here as well, just go ahead and find a spot where you kind of want to quite literally park yourself. This will work here, and what you're going to want to do is set a new place to spawn in from or transport to. So what you can do is once you make it over to Upstate Liberty, first of all, congratulations, but secondly, press the F7 key, go over to your teleports option, and go over to save teleport to .any. And from here, you have 256 slots where you can save any type of teleport, so I'm going to save mine to teleport 0. That's been saved now, so the cool thing is, even when you close out of this game, even if you shut down your computer, the next time you run this, as long as you have everything reinstalled, I'll show you all right here actually. We can go ahead, you know what, I'm just going to do this, I'll go ahead and go down here, yeah, why not? You can bring up F7, go to teleports, saved, go back, and check this out, it brings it right here. And yeah, that's some of the funny stuff that can happen at times. Now I decided to abandon that mission here and just start driving the Banshee, but from here you can start having fun with the game. There's really a lot of stuff that's been fleshed out here and a whole lot there is to just explore and have fun with. But if you're wanting to see it from an aerial perspective, this will be the last thing I show you all here. You can bring up the menu. This setting is going to be within options, fun, go to the bottom and go to flying handling. And go ahead, enable this. Now there's a bunch of other settings that you can tweak right here, but this will essentially allow your car to handle like, well, the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas plane. So I'm going to close that, and in order to test it, just get some speed, lift off, and there we go. Beautiful, isn't it? Yep, we're able to see all of Upstate Liberty from here. So congratulations, you can have some fun flying around doing what you want to, or of course just disabling this and driving around, but you can now check out one of the most impressive mods I've seen on this game and have some fun with it. Like seriously, that's what it's here for. So start exploring Upstate Liberty. Now seriously, just taking some time out for this at the end here, I do want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the people who had worked on this. Not only the project lead Addy, but also the contributors, which are as follows here. 1xSys, otherwise known as Haya, 5D0, RWW, Sergiu, Silent, Universe Twisters, Deadpool MKD, Decluin, Firehead, Gonkalovs, Jago, The Truth, United Mel, and Ukark. Seriously, I do want to shout them out individually because not only their contributions have been really awesome to this mod and this project here, but I've just had so much fun just laying back and just driving around or flying around here and just exploring Upstate Liberty. I know I've barely scratched the surface on this here, but it's really cool to be able to add quite literally almost like enough land here to make a whole new game out of Grand Theft Auto 3 within Grand Theft Auto 3. That's been really impressive, and it certainly reminds me of my time just exploring a lot of San Andreas, and kind of being able to bring that to Grand Theft Auto 3 was pretty cool. Either way, that is about it for this video here. This is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video and it helped out, a like would absolutely be appreciated, and if you didn't like it, a dislike is fine as well too.